Yo guys, what is going on? It is Invin here, and today what I'm bringing you guys is a very quick little video on something very nifty that has been added to the PTR with the latest update iteration. Now, it's something that a lot of players have been talking about on the forum, so I assumed it was worth a video, even though it is quite a small change in comparison to a lot of things. There's not an awful lot to cover in terms of content, but it is going to be, if we head onto the modes tab here, you guys will see the Outpost Rush and 3v3 arenas now have gear score scaling. So it says the usual description, and then underneath this it says this mode has gear score scaling, increasing the gear score of all equipment below 600 gear score to 600 gear score. So essentially, if you are a fresh level 60, you're a new player, or you are a returning player that is anywhere between 500 or 480 and, well, 599 essentially, you are going to get your gear buffed to 600 gear score when you're playing Outpost Rush. And when you are playing 3v3 arenas, again for level 60 players, this mode has gear score scaling. Now, it is important to note that in the 3v3 mode, it is only for the level 60 players, so if you can play this obviously from level 20 onwards, it's not going to scale your gear score to 600 when you're like level 33 with like 300 gear score. It is actually going to be for level 60s only. Obviously, Outpost Rush you can only play at max level, so that makes sense. Now, this is really good in my opinion because it does reward players for getting to max level, gives them an attempt to compete, which is really important if you look at the progression of the game. Obviously, with the gypsum system, you're getting two different types of gypsums from both Outpost Rush and 3v3 arenas. Obviously, you need both the ruby ones to be able to get your Outpost Rush for the day, but each of the arena gypsums that you get gives you a cache or an orb, so it is actually really worthwhile adding this in for endgame players that are grinding expertise, because it means they're going to be able to partake in this without getting absolutely pummeled into the floor. There is still going to be a big difference because obviously the gear that you have, even if it's scaled to 600, you're not going to have necessarily, let's say, the right attributes initially. Then once you get the right attributes, you might not have the right perks or the weapon perks that you want, and resilient on every piece, things like that. And then, of course, you've got to contend with people who are 625 gear score because this is only scaling up to 600. So if you're past that, if you're 601 or above all the way up to 625, then that is obviously rewarding your hard work for grinding out those mutations and essentially getting yourself up there. That gives you a little bit of a boost. As we know, essentially the difference is going to be the extra stat points so that you can have 300, 200 if you're just using, say, Strength Con, for example, with a 40 stat boost food or a split boost food, whatever. But with food, you can get to 300, 200 on a skill, which is really nice. So obviously that is only accessible with 625. Other things like the additional boost that it gives to the perks that you have on, that again is only available at 625, and generally that is going to mean that 625 is going to have higher armor ratings as well, so you are going to be better off still if you're grinding up these mutations. But what it is going to mean is that every time you progress on your journey from 500 to 600 expertise, if you're at 550 and then you get to 560 and you get some better gear, it's always going to scale up, but whichever gear you've got equipped, you are actually going to be able to compete in at a reasonable level. You're still not going to be able to completely top the scoreboards, like you see some of these players dropping 40, 50 kills with insane sets. That's not going to be possible, or maybe it is depending on skill. I suppose it depends what you're using, but generally those are going to still be reserved for the 625 players that are really grinding out. However, it does give the more casual players a chance to actually get up to 600 gear score and begin the Umbral grind if they want to do so, and of course still gives the opportunity for open world and for wars and stuff like that for gear score and actual grinded gear to actually make a difference. But I do like this change. I think it is a decent one. Now, what we have to bear in mind is obviously currently it is only on the PTR, and it's not like a big announcement. They've snuck it in to kind of test it out. I will be honest, it's an odd one to do because obviously 625, as you can see across the board on the PTR, and all the gear that you get given, I'm wearing some random crafting gear right now, but it is 600 gear score that it comes at, so it's not really that testable. I think it's more just like a speculative thing to add in to see how people react to it and see what people think about it. So do let me know your thoughts and feelings on this down below in the comments. Is it something you're happy to see? Is it something you would rather not see? Or alternatively, something I thought about is maybe adding a competitive queue that doesn't have this feature and then having these as casual ones, which might be something they're working on in the future. I'm not entirely sure, but let me know your thoughts on all of that stuff down below. Personally though, I do think this is a good change. I think it allows people to experience the end game more, which I think once people freshly hit level 60 on the first character, it is going to be important because this is actually the more fun aspects of the game and allowing people to access that easier, along with the removal of the tuning orbs for the expeditions. I think we're looking towards a more casual friendly end game, which is a good thing for the overall game health. But do let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. That is pretty much all I wanted to cover. Just a very quick video describing this gear score scaling, because I thought it was very cool and I'd seen some people posting about it, and I thought, yeah, I've got to check this out, see what it's about. And personally, it's something I've been wanting for a long while to encourage people to play. So hopefully it goes through onto the live servers at some point. But again, do let me know your thoughts and feelings on that. Other than that, that is going to be it for today's video, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, do make sure that you drop me a subscribe and a like down below. And other than that, I will catch you again very, very shortly on a brand new upload. So take care and peace.